Good evening, everybody. I'm sitting comfortably tonight, and that is undisputed. Now, I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster. Welcome once again to another episode of 205 Live Matters. I do not remember the episode number because my brain is mentally drained so far from my first week in college, but I do know this because I still watch it. Thank you, Unlimited Data. Thank you, 6 bus rides. So I have seen this week's episode, so of course this series will continue as usual, whether you hate it or appreciate it. Thank you to all who participate in enjoying it. With that, we're going to discuss this week's episode and a couple of simple stances in our next match in our top 25 205 Live favorite matches of all time. But before all that, allow me to introduce you, of course, to my co-host. He is a family man. He is a hard-working man. He is a real man. He's not William Regal, but he appreciates that man too. He is, of course, my good friend here, the holiday, Mr. Christopher Mace. Chris, how are you? How's the family?
Oh, family's doing good. Long work day. Everybody's freaking out about the hurricane coming through Florida here soon, so gotta be prepared for that. Just be on the safe side. But everything else is going good.
Yeah, and I heard about Dorian and stuff like that. You got heavy rain coming, winds, and who knows what sort of stuff. So my prayers and best wishes, and most of all, safety to you, your family, and all the citizens and residents of Florida. And I'm not just saying that because NXT is in Florida as well, okay, people? So don't just, stereotype me like that. I have a heart. You haven't figured it out, unlike most people. Anyway, so yeah. All right, so why don't we just go ahead and get right into this week's episode? So this week's episode 205 Live. You know, with the WWE Network and all the stupid changes they made, I think I'm just going to forget about numbers for now, especially with all the reading and the fact I'm working 12-hour work shift days. Sorry, folks, but at least I got dates. So this week's episode emanated August 27th, 2019, and the primary focus of this week's episode was to figure out who would face Drew Gulak at Clash of Champions for the Cruiserweight Championship, where every title will be on the line, some in stupider circumstances than others, according to No DQ Live recaps. Yet, folks, being back in college, I have not watched Raw or SmackDown Live, and I don't think I am going forward. Wish me luck. Anyway, so we kick off this week's episode with Drake Maverick, and we find the winners of last week's Captain's Choice match, which was like Survivor Series came early. My gosh, that was a crazy match. It was the Soul Survivors. I'm just going to call them like that. Humberto Carrillo, and Oni Lorcan. Drake Maverick congratulated both men, but he said he has a dilemma here because at first, it seemed like both men were going to face Drew Gulak, but only said, I want Gulak. And Humberto's just looking like, I want them too. So, of
Mm-hmm.
course, this seemed kind of lazy and played out. We'll talk about our own fancy booking idea and tonight's simple stance, too, for this. But basically, Drake Maverick came up with the idea that tonight's main event will be, first time ever, Oni Lorcan versus Humberto Carrillo. I'm sorry, second time ever. Oni Lorcan versus Humberto Carrillo for the number one contendership, and the winner will face Drew Gulak at Clash of Champions for the Cruiserweight title. I mean, Chris, I think this was pretty straightforward from the get-go. I'm sure you and I had different ideas. We'll talk about that from the simple stance. But, hey, at least Drake Maverick, he's focusing on his job, despite, recent accomplishments and circumstances. And I feel like this is fair because these two have only faced each other one-on-one one other time, to my knowledge. So what was your thoughts on Drake Maverick's decision here?
Oh, first off, I'm glad he didn't have that 24/7 title with him that he had won on SmackDown before this started. So thank God. But like I said, I thought it was interesting. We figured that this probably was going to end up happening since they were the two sole survivors that they were going to end up getting put in a match to determine the number one contender. We figured that may probably happen, so that's what we called that right on that scenario.
Yeah, we did. All right. So why don't we go ahead and get right into the show then? Because we kick off opening action with the storyline going on, the Lucha House Party and Arya Davari. And our opening match was quite a bout.
hmm
Kalisto versus Arya Davari. Now, you saw the match, so I want you to take it away. Give me your thoughts on this match, the story being told, and the after angle.
The story being told with Kalisto is that he was determined after last week's during the Captain's Challenge. They had the promo with him talking about he was going to beat the truth out of Davari. He was going to find out it was Davari who was the one who attacked Grand Metalik. He was going to find out his answers. They had an incredible match. This is probably one of the better single matches I've seen Kalisto had since back when he actually was wrestling Alberto Del Rio, which is a long time ago for the U.S.
Wow.
title. That's a
Wow.
long time ago. But he was having an incredible match. This was a hard-hitting affair, back and forth action, nonstop. Like I said, it was interesting how Davari ended up getting the win, which is fine. I figured that was going to happen. Like I said, Kalisto's already established to this point. He did Davari. He's had some losses, had some wins. He's trying to get back in the title contention. So the win for Davari was good, but the aftermatch was interesting because he went to attack Kalisto. Here comes Lucha House Party. And Grand Metalik Davari ended up ducking, and Grand Metalik ended up missing him. And then here he is, the other one looking at him. He's going, and they're just having talk. They're not fighting. He's not attacking. He's not defending it. He's not defending anybody. He's not attacking them. That was very interesting, kind of strange to me. Wouldn't you be mad? Like, okay, he's your friend, Grand Metalik. He's beating your friend down. Why aren't you doing anything? You're just standing there having a conversation with him. Like, yeah, how you doing? Oh, it's great. How you doing? Oh, great. How you doing? Oh, you owe me $5. No, you owe me $5. It seemed like they were having like a buddy conversation. It was kind of strange there, like. It's setting up for, is there a dissension? Will there be a split? And because you don't know yet, because it could be possible they split up. And if so, you know what? I mean, I've called it because I said I think they need to split up. But then after some of their performances as of late, they've been putting on some great matches as a team and in singles competition, but it may be time for them to split and have some more single action with all three of them and go ahead and establish them as single stars, because we've already talked about Grand Metalik. If I remember right, Grand Metalik's never had a one-on-one championship match. Dorado hasn't had a one-on-one championship match. Kalisto, he's been the champion before. So, I mean, these two have not had the opportunity. A split may be beneficial to them because of the fact they can go on a singles run, and they may get an opportunity down the road to have a competitive match for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah, you pretty much took it all away right there, and I'll answer your thoughts on the aftermath, too. So, yeah, this match was very impressive to me. I mean, Kalisto with the early control, and then Nigel McGuinness got all giddy with Ariya Daivari gain control, especially after a wicked basement dropkick that threw Kalisto into the barricade. Both men jockeying for position, Kalisto pulling off some maneuvers on the apron that Ariya Daivari got wiped out hard on. And then we go all the way towards the end, and now we know that Hammerlock Lariat has a name for Ariya Daivari, Persian Crash, I think it is. I guess everything's now named after Persian Lion for Ariya Daivari, because I guess he's the Persian Lion of 205 Live. Probably going more off his, heritage. So, yeah, this was a very competitive back-and-forth match, and it really shows, once again, what Lucha House Party is capable of singles competitors. Now, as far as the post angle, as you put it, it was very interesting to me, but again, you got to think about, we've been talking about Lucha House Party. Should they split up since it's not a tag team division, it seems, really established on 205 Live? We'll segue into that a little later based on another segment. But we also talked about, is there dissension going on between Lucha House Party? Is Ariya Daivari getting in Lince Dorado's head? Because he's making a valid point. Because not only is he getting the opportunities, he's winning. By hook or by crook, Ariya Daivari is winning. And that came through, again, in this match. Through dirty antics. And, of course, the number one thing that's a hindrance, it seems, whenever you put a luchador or a masked wrestler in jail versus a non-masked one against a heel, they always go for the mask. And that was Kalisto's downfall. Mm-hmm. And then, again, if we hear, and you heard the same thing I did, I'm helping you. I'm only here helping you. Think about it. You don't need these two. They're dead weight. So again, is Ariya Daivari looking for an ally here, or does he truly see something in Lince Dorado, or is this just more, adding fuel to the fire? Lucha House Party going to break up. We're going to get Kalisto versus Lince Dorado, for example. The new versus the old, because the Kalisto, again, he also demonstrated a lot of the new style versus the older style Lince Dorado's used to. Case in point, look how long it took him to hit that beautiful 450 splash. And I thought that was it. There's a lot of variables going on here, but you gotta imagine it's inevitable. They're building Lince Dorado versus Kalisto. Because Kalisto is a former Cruiserweight champion. Lince Dorado has yet to get opportunity. Ariya Daivari could possibly become his ally. It's gotta be a thing coming. And I'm very curious to see where we go from here, especially after this loss. It wouldn't surprise me, though, next week that we get Grand Metalik versus Ariya Daivari, and he just continues running through Lucha House Party and further proving his point till we finally see Lince Dorado go dark. But I guess time will tell. All right. So, yeah, I thought that was a very great opening match. Let's go ahead and talk about the next segment, which was, of course, Tony Nese. Tony Nese, his 205 Live outlook has been a bit, como se dice, fickle. he's not really sure right now where he lies and what he needs to do. He basically gets caught backstage in an interview, and he basically simply says this: maybe I need to be more than the premier athlete. Maybe it's time I change my approach. Change my approach. There's that word again. Change. And again, that's the theme now of 205 Live under the ruler and leadership of the Cruiserweight Champion, Drew Gulak, because change is what moves 205 Live, and as long as he's champ, he is the law. So many things that are the man, the big dog, the blah, blah, blah. I can't think of it anymore because I don't give a crap. But seriously, the blank. It just seems so simple anymore to make a WWE story or name or shirt out of that. I wouldn't mind getting Drew Gulak the law type shirt. Still wearing my Drew Gulak shirt, but going off topic. So, Chris, I'm curious on your thoughts on this. He said the word change. Change his approach. Being more than a premier athlete. What do you think Tony Nese is referring to? His in-ring style, his overall outlook, or packaging? What do you think Tony Nese needs to change, if anything?
I think if he's going for a storytelling aspect, he may need to change how vicious he is, how aggressive he is, how determined he is. He's lost something. He may be feeling like he lost some of his edge. He may pull what Gulak did and go to NXT for a little bit and have some competitive matches in NXT. Try to find himself, refocus, change up some stuff, try some new styles, learn some new tricks of the trade, and then come back and go after Gulak again. That's what I would think he would do. He may pull something similar like Gulak did when Gulak went to NXT, and he had some incredible matches in NXT with Kushida. I said, so he may pull something similar like that.
Yeah, but I'm very curious at this point because he is a former Cruiserweight champion, and right now Tony Nese seems very indecisive right now, and it's just him against the brand, basically. So I'm very curious what this could mean because we know how capable Tony Nese is in the ring. But since losing the title, he's been kind of on a backslide. So I guess we'll see what happens. All right. Why don't you go ahead and talk about this next segment since you are a fan of tag team wrestling. Bale. What were the Singh brothers talking about, and what do you see for them? Talk me through it.
Oh, God, I was ignoring them half the time on this promo. Oh, no, they're talking about they need to do something different, and they're going to go, if I remember it, because it was such a boring promo to me. But pretty much they were talking about they would have to go away to Bollywood and stuff, and when they come back, blah, blah. And that's what I got out of it, because that promo was just pure boredom. They're normally entertaining, but that promo to me was so boring, I was trying not to fall asleep during it. So that's one thing. If you watch this episode, just skip through that promo, because that was really boring. It was not one of their best promos, just my opinion. And I really have a good memory, but if I can't remember half of what they said, it had no relevance in the storytelling to me at this point.
Basically simple as that. They're basically saying they're going to go back, rethink their strategy, maybe do the Breezango approach, come back and repackage themselves, try and become, once again, the overall best tag team in 205 Live, which is insane, Mus, when your only competition right now really has been Lucha House Party. Kicks. Then again, I guess you could consider Akira Tozawa and D-Brian Kendrick a tag team for now. We'll see where future events go. All right. And then that leads us into our main event, Oney Lorcan versus Humberto Carrillo. Now, this is the second time these two have faced each other one-on-one. Their previous encounter, Oney Lorcan, he won. And it was during, of course, the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Earlier this year, I might add. So, this match was a match of either going back to where he was or Humberto Carrillo finally ascending to getting his opportunity. And we got our answer. Chris, what were your thoughts on this match?
This was a very aggressive and hard-hitting affair. Humberto changed up his style a little bit. He had a couple botches here and there. You could see it. But like I said, my opinion is they should have slow burned him. He won the match. And and everybody who's been watching this show has heard me say they need to slow burn him. Don't put him in a title match yet. He's got feuds with the Lucha House Party. There's storylines there that are undecided yet. He has other storylines that are undecided yet. So he won the match because at that point you put yourself in a corner to me. You either have Lorcan win, he gets another shot, or you have Humberto win, and you're building a future star with Humberto. He needs to win. I'm glad there was no shenanigans. I'm glad there was a finish to the match, but I like Humberto, but I don't think it's his time yet. But I'd rather had Lorcan won, so we could have got one more match with him and Gulak. But Humberto won, so we're going to see how it plays out. But spoiler alert right now, I don't see them pulling the trigger and having him beat Gulak. That's for sure. I don't see it right now. He's not ready yet. Just my opinion.
Yeah, this match was definitely calculated and it definitely seemed a little slow at first. It took a moment for the crowd to get into it until Humberto Carrillo started flying over the top rope. Humberto Carrillo relied a lot on high-risk offense, while only Lorcan, he relied, of course, on ground-based brawling. And there was a lot of that here when Humberto Carrillo did his roll-through moonsault, and only Lorcan could get out of that. The only Lorcan, he caught him when he was going for his Aztec press with freaking uppercuts. So many uppercuts during this. Humberto Carrillo got turned inside out. At one point, only Lorcan, he pulled off the half and half, but outside on the ring floor.
Mm-hmm.
Ref did not have enough time to bring Humberto Carrillo in the ring and win the match. I think right there was his biggest point where I was like, oh, I don't think he's winning here. Because going in here, I honestly thought only Lorcan was going to win. I was like you. I think it was still too soon to pull the trigger on Humberto Carrillo. Truth be told, he had a great run. He overcame his cousin even last week. And honestly, I want to see that match one-on-one. But I'll talk more about that a little later. And again, only Lorcan, he put everything out there. But in the end, Humberto Carrillo, he won. He won, of course, with a beautiful twisting corkscrew splash in the end.
Mm-hmm.
A very nice combination towards the end, too. It didn't involve only gripping his chin because he don't have a beard and open palm striking him. There was a couple of ground-based submissions here. It almost went over the announce table at one point. And again, Humberto Carrillo, once over the top rope maneuver, he grazed him. The second one, he got him. Humberto Carrillo needs to rethink his strategy, though, now that he's going up against Gulak. It's going to take more than that to beat the guy. Because afterwards, Gulak, he applauded him, it seems sarcastically, but also he still put him over because, again, it was like a teacher-student type thing. As he told him, my pupil has come so far, but I am the leader of change. And are you willing to make the same sacrifices like I did? Because if you aren't, there's only two things waiting for you. Pain and punishment. Change is inevitable. And as long as I am the Cruiserweight Champion, that change, I will be its leader because I am the law. So there we go. We have our Cruiserweight Championship match for Clash of Champions. First time ever for the Cruiserweight title, because these two men are not strangers to each other in any sort of the word. Humberto Carrillo versus Drew Gulak. But before all that, let's go ahead and sum up this episode and give our grade, because that concludes this week's episode of 205 Live. So let's go ahead and rate the show on a scale of 1 to 5. I'll kick it off. I thought this show was rather basic, but still decent. We had a nice main event. It wasn't like, groundbreaking. The crowd was like, bravo, bravo, hurrah, though they did show some crowd shots at the end. Like, the crowd was like, yeah, Humberto won. That was a great match. But again, a lot of it seemed the crowd was a bit burnt out. And maybe that's just because it was slower, it seemed, until Humberto Carrillo gained some momentum and put off his aerial offense. And then we had the opener. We're continuing that storyline with Lucha House Party and Ariya Daivari, who I believe is the top heel right now going on in 205 Live. We also still have this internal dissension, maybe, between Akira Tozawa and D-Brian Kendrick that was foreshadowed with Jack Gallagher, put in the challenge, and we know we are getting that match next week between Jack Gallagher and D-Brian Kendrick. Seambriars, no idea what to think about that. I don't expect much. And Tony Nese, I hope for the best. So we got a good showcase of most of the cruiserweights, and we got some stories, it seems, for most of them, too. Curious, though, if we're going to, what's next for Isaiah Scott Swerve, Angel Garza, and, of course, Mike Kanellis. But overall, I felt it was a pretty good show. And also, I forgot to add, Vic Joseph was not there. He was apparently working in NXT UK, preparing for NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, which, of course, they hyped up. It was Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Andy English. And English, I guess, will be on the pre-show this Saturday. So that was kind of also a little bit of a downside for me, too, because Tom Phillips is just another Michael Cole waiting to happen, I feel. Because all he says is, oh! I mean, there's got to be more to you than that. I almost feel like it's contagious. But anyway, not to take too long on rambling on this. This episode, I thought was okay. A little bit more than average. But the commentary, Tom Phillips kind of brought it down for me. I'm going to be a little more respectable, though, and give it 3.5 out of 5. Chris, what about you? What would you grade this week's episode of 205 Live? And do you have any closing comments on it?
First off, I'm glad you correct me because I was swearing this week we were going to get the gentleman Jack Gallagher versus Brian Kendrick this week, and so I was disappointed we didn't get that. But if you watch NXT UK, you understand why we didn't get this match this week with
Correct.
them. But see, I was thinking, I swear, that's why I was disappointed. I was like, man, I really want to see that matchup and let that story continue, and I didn't get that. So then you corrected when you. I'm glad you said it because I was about to ask about that too and say something, but that's on next week. So can't wait to see that match, see how that storyline plays out. I'm intrigued with that one right now. But as for the show, like I said, one of the best matches Kalisto's had, single matches he's had since his feud with Alberto Del Rio for the U.S. title. The main event had its good points, had its bad points. I think it's two different contrasts of styles. And like I said, I think I like their first match better than I did this one. I'm going to give it, like you said, I'm going to give it 3.5, and I'm going to add an extra quarter because of the great opening match that they had with Kalisto and Daivari. I thought that match was actually better than the main event, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's sometimes 205 Live, I feel like the main event match should have been like the opener or the middle. It was definitely, I think, but again, you got to focus on the championship being your top tier priority. So, of course, we're going to put a match regarding the championship in the main event picture, which I'm okay with. So, I don't go playing too much. But I agree, definitely the opener was better than the closer. I feel like the closer actually went a little longer because, again, there was points where it really felt like it was at rest spots. And you don't see that normally in 205.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that also degraded the quality of the match a bit. I'm all about mat wrestling and chain wrestling, but Umberto Carrillo is not that. So you got to have the right formula there, okay? It's one thing to clash styles, it's another thing to play off each other's styles rather well. Only Lorcan, he adapted what as he always does. He adapts to any fight he's in. Umberto Carrillo, he's going to rely on his high aerial, high-risk, lucha offensive style. But he also needs to learn to adapt to others around him. I'm going to be curious to see how he does that against Drew Gulak. Speaking of which, let's go ahead now and talk about some simple stances. So we know we got our Cruiserweight Championship match set up, but we also know recently we had a Cruiserweight Championship match at Evolve. Once again, it was Drew Gulak versus Kushida, and Drew Gulak came out victorious. What's it going to take for Drew Gulak to lose that title? So my opening simple stance is this. Drew Gulak as Cruiserweight Champion. Who should he pass the torch to? Should it be Umberto Carrillo? And if so, when? Chris, your thoughts on the next potential Cruiserweight Champion of 205 Live, who and when?
Hold on, before I comment on that, that was an awesome match, though, with Gulak and Kushida, and Gulak did get his win back after those two losses, so that was a very impressive match. That was if you haven't seen that match, I would definitely recommend seeing that match. You can see Gulak and Kushida 3, because their first two matches are nothing compared to that match, so that's my opinion on that one.
They're all classics. It's a trifecta.
But then getting back there, I want Humberto to win, but I don't think it's time yet. I think WrestleMania season would be the best time for him to win. But in the meantime, since they're booking this match, I don't see him winning the title at Clash Champions. It's too soon for him to win the title. He's got too many storylines now with Angel Garza, with his cousin that I can see coming to 205 Live and fighting against them. He's still got unresolved issues with the Lucha House Party. He's got a couple storylines here and there that could hold him over for a little bit. So them pulling the trigger early, I was kind of really surprised by this, but I mean, I can't fault them. They're trying to go with a hot hand. If they believe he's a hot hand, that's fine. But he's not ready to be the Cruiserweight champion. If you need somebody to beat Gulak, I honestly don't see. I mean, he's already beat Lorcan. He's beaten Nese. I mean, he's beaten Tozawa. Since he's been champion, he hasn't wrestled Brian Kendrick, but he hasn't been built up at all. He hasn't wrestled the gentleman Jack Gallagher, so that's somebody he could potentially wrestle. Mike Kanellis is a heel, but when's he going to come back? Is he going to come back? And if so, does he go after Drew Gulak immediately when he comes back and demands that championship match? You have different things you could do. You have people that Drew Gulak can face, but do I see any of them beating Gulak at this moment? Not this Gulak. We're talking about the Gulak from years ago. Yeah, I could have picked anyone to beat Gulak. This is a different. This is a different man. This is a different man. This is a different animal you're messing with. He came back, reinvented himself, and he is going to be a dominant champion for a long time. I don't see him losing that belt till at least WrestleMania. Maybe not even till then. I see him maybe even having a year title run the way he's been built up and going right now. I don't see him losing anytime soon to at least WrestleMania.
Sounds like you feel like you could beat Neville's record, who's the longest reigning cruiserweight champion, I believe, which was
I think he will.
Which was 192 days. And you know what? I mean, you look at the current roster, but you look at the potential additions that you can see on the roster, even from these special matches. I have to agree. So my thoughts are this. Drew Gulak, if you're really going to pass the torch off to somebody for that cruiserweight title, you really got to make sure it's somebody that is as evolved, calculated, flexible, and aggressive as him. Humberto Carrillo, he's bringing a lot of aggression. He brings a lot of spirit, but I think it's too soon for him, too. Spoiler alert, calling it right now, Drew Gulak is retaining the Cruiserweight title class. Yep. That's my official prediction. Now, as far as what I can see happening next, Humberto Carrillo could probably go back to maybe being part of Lucha House Party at this point. He might actually go help Kalisto or Gran Metalik if this whole Lince Dorado thing blows up. I can see that potentially happening. The biggest factor here is the Cruiserweight division literally goes for one title. There's some side stories in between, but as far as who I think could be next to own the throne of Drew Gulak, jeez, that's tough. I mean, I could definitely see Isaiah Scott swerve based on the amount of history those two have, teacher and student, and that incredible debut he had. I could see Chad Gable, former Olympian, all-around premier athlete, he could primary lead of 205 Live, and I would love to see him versus Tony Nese for that title. And then I look at the current roster and who he hasn't faced. You brought up the Brian Kendrick. You brought up Jack Gallagher. Heck, why not try somebody first time ever? Let's see what Gran Metalik can do. So right now, I feel like there's a lot of potential, but I don't see anybody right now being the next Cruiserweight champion in the near future. Let's see what happens towards Survivor Series. But as far as right now, Humberto Carrillo, too soon. What do you think?
But also you have the thing, too. You have all this interpromotional stuff where you have the NXT UK stars coming over. You have the gentleman Jack Gallagher right now. He's going to be there. He's in the UK right now currently. You saw him on NXT UK just this past week. Right. I said, why can't you bring some people over there? Why don't you have a special match with him and Devlin, for example, or Travis Banks or Kenny Williams? You have a lot of people there that could go over there and probably have a program with him and challenge him for the Cruiserweight title. If they brought Devlin there, for example, and build a good storyline and a good program for him, I see the Irish Ace can beat him. I would bet money on that. Irish Ace could beat him.
That'd be interesting.
I'd rather Devlin be on NXT UK right now than 205 Live. But if he goes 205 Live and they have a good storyline reason for him being there, that would be an awesome match. You got a lot of potential for a lot of great matches if you want to do it that way. That's why I said. That's why I like the World Collide they did with NXT UK and 205 Live. I mean, I like the concept. Maybe they bring that concept, and that's where we get that kind of a matchup there, where they do another Worlds Collide.
Well, they also did recently that Simply Competition special, where it was just 205 Live versus NXT. And that's when we got to say it's Scott Swerve versus Drew Gulak. So I would like to see more of that. The beauty of this brand, despite the fact it doesn't have its own special yet or pay-per-view, it sometimes turns its episodes into specials or gives a pay-per-view caliber match. Hence the Survivor Series match. Hence Chad Gable versus Jack Gallagher, which is still probably one of my top 5 Cruiserweight matches of the year. Do I think that's top 5 on my list? You'll find out soon in the coming weeks. I'm not going to spoil anything. And like you said, there's potential between NXT UK on 205 Live as well. I would love to see Jordan Devlin fight Drew Gulak for the title. And if he wins, I wouldn't be surprised to see him even morph the title to some sort of black and green type thing. In my opinion, I feel like the Cruiserweight title could use an overall design upgrade. But that's just me. All right. So that's my opening simple stance. What do you want to talk about tonight?
All right, so we talked about it the other day when I brought it up, so we talk about it tonight. So what do you think is the best teacher-student dynamic in the Cruiserweight wrestling?
Of all time or in 205 Live?
Any period in wrestling history that you can remember.
Oh boy, that's a loaded question considering how deep cruiserweight wrestling runs and how many prodigies there have been from just tag teams like, oh, da, da, da. But you know what? I'll probably just keep it recent because it kind of goes into. Actually, no, I don't think it's really like another thought. I mean, teacher student. I almost, it's not cruiserweight though, it's cruiserweight heavyweight. I don't know if you can say Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak, for example, because we know that Drew Gulak brought him
You
in the
can.
catch point. And again, that faction is all about three things: competition, respect, opportunity. I feel like it was a great first step forward in Matt Riddle, involving as an independent wrestling competitor. So, as far as my favorite of all time, I don't know if I have one, but as far as recent ones, I did thoroughly enjoy the times of Catch Point with Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak. Just keep it simple tonight. Also, I just right now I'm not prepared for that because I look at so much wrestling and I think about all time and stuff like that. I mean, you can even go back further than that. I almost can think Amazing Red and Will Ospreay as almost a teacher-student type thing because
Hmm.
Amazing Red came out of retirement, it seemed, to face Will Ospreay recently in the Super J Cup, one of the primary matches of that entire tournament, according to Cindy J and Gabriel Chris. And I can't wait to watch that personally.
Yeah.
So as far as all time though, oh man, I don't know if you could call it teacher and student, but it's probably best friend, best friend. I gotta go with probably Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko.
Damn.
So I'm just gonna go all the
That
way back there. WCW, two of the most premier athletes in cruiserweight wrestling history. Those two carried so much amazing chemistry, learned from each other, and I feel like Dean Malenko was at first Ray's inspiration, and then Ray came into the fold and learned some stuff from Dean. Both played off each other very well, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to learn from your opponent, and you're supposed to be able to put on an even greater match than before. WCW was led by greats like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio, the Brian Pillmans, the Chris Jerichos, the Eddie Guerrero, Justin Thunder Liger, and so much more. But just going off right now, based on recent circumstances I have seen and people I can think of, because I've just been rambling, I'm gonna go with going way back in time, Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio. What about you? That's a good stance.
But I say that was my number two on my theory there. You actually took my number two one. My number one is Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero Jr. And the
Oh,
reason I picked that one is because you look way back in WCW, Chavo Guerrero was just coming up in WCW. They had their little feud, and then all of a sudden he's got Chavo under his wing. He's got him wearing Eddie's My Favorite Wrestler shirt and all kinds of stuff, humiliating him, trying to teach him to be a better wrestler. The whole storyline. That's where he came up with Peppy, his horse, was
yeah,
hilarious stuff.
I remember that. I do remember that. I may
And,
not have grew
and
up on WCW, but I've been watching it on the network. And my
that was some of the funniest stuff. And then they went their own ways for a little while. Then they got back together. And then I mean, all in all, at Chavo Guerrero Jr., they are family. They learned a lot. He learned a lot from Eddie Guerrero, and then going to WWE where they were tag team champions together. He learned a lot from Eddie Guerrero, and he still to this day pays tribute to the late Eddie Guerrero by doing the Three Amigos, and he always pays tribute to his uncle because, in fact, he did so much for him in his career. And like I said, that whole storyline, you could go back to WCW, you can go back to WWE and watch their matches they've had. Those two could not have a bad match. You find one bad match and show me and send it to me on Twitter and let me see a bad match those two had together.
Well said, and yeah, good luck, people, on that. I mean, the Guerrero family, wrestling's in their blood. I know we're talking about the Garza family most recently, but Guerrero's, man, enough said. Eddie, Chavo, people, Guerrero, enough said. All right. Speaking of which, I want to go into a fantasy booking stance because before I learned how they were going to do, of course, the one contendership to this, I had different ideas. Now, I understand only Logan and Alberto Carrillo, they were the sole survivors in that Captain's Challenge match. It's about what have you done for me recently, not what have you done overall, apparently, with Drake Maverick. And they did put this over during the show, too, and during their main event match. But here's the thing. Jeff Meacham, great guy. Go follow him. Early Lorcan, he's already had opportunity, and I still think Alberto Correa was too soon. I didn't want them to necessarily thrust these two into my contenders match. I would have actually liked both those men to be in another match, respectively, among people that really impressed me, and I feel like impressed Drake Maverick as well during that Captain's Choice match. Here's what I would have done personally. I would have dedicated a whole night to this because you could have done it in one night because they've done 3 matches before in a single show. I would have done, based on just the chemistry, the jealousy it seems, the overall competition, and the overall sibling rivalry, I would have done Humberto Carrillo versus Angel Garza one-on-one tonight, and I would have done Oney Lorcan versus Isaiah Scott Swerve. Because Isaiah Scott Swerve, he controlled most of that match, and then Oney Lorcan tag off him. They both were jockeying for each other, and I want to see those two face each other one-on-one. Because here's the thing. Isaiah Scott Swerve, he has history with Drew Gulak, a teacher-student relationship to an extent, like you put in your last simple stance. Humberto Carrillo, he's been impressive since day one, but Angel Garza, those two together, that was incredible. I can see Angel Garza being a top-tier contender on the 205 Live roster for the Cruiserweight title as well. And I truly want to see those two face each other one-on-one. It's a battle of cousins, and it also would mean some interesting commentary between Nigel McGuinness and Andy English. So you got some interesting storytelling to behold. And then you think about the combination that could come out of these two. We could have NXT Breakout Tourney rematch, I believe, Isaiah Scott Swerve, Angel Garza. You could have Humberto Carrillo versus Isaiah Scott Swerve. You could have Oney Lorcan versus Angel Garza. There would have been more dynamics here because necessarily, I don't feel like wrestling should always be focused around heel versus face. I feel like it should be focused around who wants it more. And all 4 of those men clearly want an opportunity, I feel like, at the Cruiserweight title. So in my opinion, I just would have took a different approach. Not a multi-man match, just maybe a mini-series of matches in a single show. So that's my fantasy booking stance for tonight. Simple as that. Chris, fantasy book how you would declare the new #1 contender Drew Gulak's Cruiserweight title instead of what they did. What would have been your creative booking?
I would have gone old school. I would have done an ECW Double Jeopardy match. I would have had 2 matches going on at once. I would have had Humberto fighting. Oh my God, I went completely brain. Oh, how he would have had him fighting Angel Garza, and I had Lorcan fighting Swerve at the same time. If you don't know what an ECW Double Jeopardy match is, they only did one, which is where you had 2 matches going on at the same time. So you would have, for example, you'd have Humberto fighting Angel Garza in the match. At the same time, you'd have Swerve and Lorcan fighting each other at the same time. Lorcan and Swerve could only pin each other. Humberto and Garza could only pin each other. Whoever got the pin first, they would get out of the match. If still, like for example, let's say if Angel Garza pinned Humberto in the match, if Lorcan and Swerve are still fighting, he's going to get out of the way. He's got to get out of the match so they can finish their match. Once there's a winner determined, so say Garza's won, he's beat Humberto, then Lorcan beats Swerve. So then they two are going to wrestle each other right then and there, and the winner of that match will determine the new nnumber 1 Cruiserweight contender. They've only won 1 Double Jeopardy match. Now, the only difference with that theory is the way they did it was both men got both the matches, because it was for the ECW title. Okay. So both of them got the pin at the same time, so that pretty much eliminated that whole, but that was what the rules of the match were.
Okay. And shout out to our own Matt General, Jerry Slaughter. Hope you enjoyed your birthday. He gave some thoughts, too. He also said he would have liked to have seen a triple threat match with Garza, Carrillo, and Scott to determine #1, possibly a match or elimination. Actually, both. Start out as a triple threat, have one eliminated by pinfall, typo, I know what he was saying, or submission, then a ladder match right after it to name the contender. A very interesting series of matches as well, per se. So I kind of like that thought. But again, it is what it is. We got our official answer. So we'll see what happens. All right. Is there anything else on your mind tonight for Simple Stances?
So how do you think they should go about determining a new #1 contender once this feud's over with Gulak and Humberto?
Future booking. Okay, let's figure about this. What's the next pay-per-view after Clash of Champions? Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
We have yet to see a sort of cage-based match on the 205 Live brand for the title. Now, obviously, I don't see them doing a cage match on 205 Live itself. There isn't enough time. No one's going to assemble it. So, I would definitely try and do the Cruiserweight title match with a steel cage, at least. Because I feel like that is the perfect environment for a Cruiserweight to pull off some amazing dynamic offense and give the crowd a moment to remember. Hence the reason why Vince may want to put it on the main card, because it will actually influence the crowd to be like, wow, this is awesome. Because Vince is all about the high spots. Now, as far as the setup to who I think could be in that match, I mean, tough and gritty. I could obviously see him doing Oney Lorcan versus Drew Gulak in that sort of match. But honestly, I could see them probably trying to set up something with Arya Dabari and maybe his lackey or partner or friend or training buddy that I could see finally happening come to be. Lince Dorado. I could see one of those two basically trying to get an opportunity here and go after the title. And you get some sort of makeshift match that way. Then again, I could also see, of course, because you got to have some sort of face involved. Maybe when this whole Jack Gallagher, D. Brian Kendrick thing blows over, we might actually get Jack Gallagher involved in this. Or maybe Akil Tozawa become wise, go on his own, and get involved in this again, too. Because he basically needs to get back on track as far as the top picture goes. Or maybe you do something surprising and you actually bring Chad Gable back on the brand, see if he can get a number one contenders match, do a straightforward Drew Gulak versus Chad Gable match, because that will be a classic. So my approach would either be a steel cage or a first time ever. Simple as that. What about you? Since you're talking about, again, the next pay will be Hell in a Cell. You would have like about a month to book.
Oh, my theory, I know they're not going to do Hell in a Cell, but if they were doing Hell in a Cell, the way I would do it is I'd have Gulak beat Humberto. Let Humberto come within like an inch away, like he hits his finish, and Gulak kicks out at 2 1/3. Now Gulak's pissed. He beats the shit out of Humberto, ends up getting him. He makes him submit. He holds the submission on too long. He continues to beat the crap out of him for a long period of time. Here comes the gentleman. He comes out because remember you had the teacher-student dynamic with the gentleman in the middle of the scenario at the time. He comes out to go save Humberto, so then they start having a little fight with each other and everything else. Now you got Lorcan involved too, because Lorcan still wants his rematch for this, and Lorcan's angry at the fact of what's happened with this scenario, what Gulak has done, because now Humberto in the storyline is going to be out with an injury for a while. He's got to sell this injury that Gulak is just pretty much beating the crap out of him after the match, because Humberto almost beat his former teacher. So then you're going to go on with this feud. They're going to end up intertwining, and then you're going to end up having a first triple threat Hell in a Cell match with Gulak defending against the gentleman Jack Gallagher against Lorcan. Now, Lorcan and Drew Gulak by themselves would be an interesting Hell in a Cell match, but then you add the factor of the gentleman who's standing up for his friend that he was trying to also help teach as well, who he never really chose sides. If you think about it, he never really chose sides who was right between Gulak. He was just he was with Humberto, he's with Gulak. He never really chose sides who was right or who was wrong on anything. But now he's angry for what Gulak has done. He feels like he pushed too far with Humberto. His actions were unforgivable, and he has to stand up for his friend now. So now he has chosen the side of who was right and who was wrong. And so then you do this triple threat Hell in a Cell match, because now you have justification of why you would need a Hell in a Cell match, because each week you go through 205 Live and Lorcan be going after Gulak in the backstage area trying to attack him. The gentleman, every time you see Gulak, if Gulak was in a match, gentleman be coming running down trying to get to him. Lorcan be trying to get to him. You would have to have it confined in a Hell in a Cell match to settle this issue. And then you could have Gulak get a really big win. And because then you could have him beat the gentleman. The gentleman had a title match since what? Royal Rumble against Neville, if I remember right, his only title match.
Yes, that is correct.
So this would be a long time in the making. Yes, the gentleman has other programs, but for this storyline purpose, it would work because of the history of him and Gulak and Humberto. So, but you would have to play the storyline of Humberto coming this close to beating Gulak and Gulak getting angry and pissed because wait a minute, you almost beat me, how dare you? And then he gets pissed off and he puts him in a submission hold, taps him out, and then he beats the crap out of him because he was almost embarrassed by his former student. And then that's how you play the storyline out to get to Hell in a Cell. So you would have time to build up to a Hell in a Cell match if you did something along that lines. Would they do it? Probably not, but that'd be an interesting way to get to a Hell in a Cell match for the Cruiserweight title.
Well, we never know what's up Adam Pearson or Andrew Pearson's. Apologies if I screwed up your name, sir. Creative Risk, because he is lead of creative. And I thank him and Sanjay and everybody what they do with 205 Live. I like that a lot because you really show how pissed off and aggressive Oney Lorcan is. Because he's not going to stop at nothing till he gets that title off Drew Gulak. Then again, with Jack Gallagher, if he does a Mary Poppins bomb off the top of the cell, I'm going to be weak. I like that a lot. But I guess time will tell. All right, I got one more thing based on the No DQ review. Go watch it, folks. Great content by the moderator, Virtue. A name was brought up, and the 205 Live was put by his name. So I'm just going to say this, and you just go with it. Ricochet, 205 Live.
I would love him in 205 Live. 205 Live, honestly. He's fucking that damn good. If he's not going to win the King of the Ring, which I didn't think going to win King of the Ring, I picked Chad Gable. If I lose, oh well. That was my fantasy book, and I picked Chad Gable because I believe in him, and he's a phenomenal wrestler. But if you put Ricochet in there, if he's not going to win King of the Ring and you move him to 205 Live, fuck yeah. I'm sorry the way I said that, but fuck yeah. I would love Ricochet in 205 Live.
All right, and I would have to agree because people have been getting on his case for one major thing, promos. On 205 Live, you don't necessarily need to be a strong promo to be a top-tier person or go after the Cruiserweight title. You just got to be a phenomenal wrestler. Ricochet is incredible. Now, I heard how good that Drew Gulak and Ricochet match was. Another match I probably should go back through and watch. Now that my mom has Hulu back on, maybe I'll go back and watch both those matches when we're done here. But the bottom line is this. Ricochet don't give a long promo. He's too green in that. But, of course, you're not a strong promo out the gate. Vince is going to relegate you to mid-card or forgetfulness. I feel like Ricochet would add a huge dynamic to 205 Live. And as far as bringing him in for a debut, the very first person I would put him up against, Isaiah Scott Swerve. I would love to see Ricochet introduced against Isaiah Scott Swerve in another number one contenders Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Maybe that could be a plan towards next year WrestleMania. Only time will tell. But that's just a brief, simple thought on one premier person that I feel like would fit perfectly on 205 Live, and that is the one and only Ricochet. And spoiler alert, or maybe not spoiler alert, but I'm just going to go with Vince mentality. All hell King Corbin. Glasses off, people, if you agree with me. But
oh, Lord. No, Chad Gable's going to win. I'm gonna keep hoping now. Like, say my prayers, eat my vitamins. Chad Gable's going to win. I got the longest shot of anybody.
Well, that's true. All right. One more name before we go into our, of course, top 25 match, number 18, I believe. Because I think this would probably be the biggest name you can get on the brand. And maybe the one thing he hasn't done yet. And maybe the one thing that can change his style or where it will be still acceptable. Because I effing hate it right now. SW Champion. Kofi Kingston. 205 Live.
That is a title he's never held before. That's for sure. Yeah, but what would be the story? See, that's the only thing is he'd do. What would be? You have him in this prominent role as WWE champion right now. Okay, you're telling these stories about how he's had to overcome 11 years story to get to that point. Okay. How do you explain in storyline? How do you explain him wanting to go 205 Live? Oh, I just wanted to come over here one day, guys, and join your brand. I mean, there's got to be some storyline where maybe he loses say if he loses the title to Orton at Clash Champions, for example. Yeah. Then he gets a rematch, and if he loses his rematch, he can no longer be on Raw or SmackDown. He has to leave the main roster.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what I was thinking.
And he loses, and then he goes up there, and then Drake Maverick or somehow, because remember, we still have general managers on NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live. Then you could do some kind of storyline where you have a bidding war for him. Drake Maverick's trying to get him on 205 Live. William Regal's trying to get him on NXT. Johnny Saint trying to get him on NXT UK. You could have a little bidding war here, and then play it up. He could appear on all three shows for at least an episode, have a bidding war and stuff like that, tell a little story there, and then he makes his choice, and he shows up at 205 Live, and you kind of do something like you did back from the main roster years ago with Triple H and Scott Steiner, where he goes, okay, I came here because I was told if I signed this contract, become part of 205 Live exclusively, I get a shot at the Cruiserweight title, and you can set up a storyline that way.
Yeah, I feel like, though, they're not just going to give him a title shot because of his name. Again, everything on 205 Live is earned, and that's why I really appreciate with this brand. Another thing that you pointed out, shaping the brand. Rumor has it they're going to do that again with a full-fledged draft, and I pray to God they do, because the wild card needs to die. But I digress. And again, I respect Kofi and his work, but I don't want New Day Pancake WWE Championship. You might as well pour syrup on it. I could care less right now about the WWE Championship match and the freaking Universal title match based on the circumstances they're doing at Clash of Champions. Why should I take value in the matches, let alone their champion? Give me a legitimate reason. Give me one. I dare you. Give me one. Okay, Kofi, he's unstoppable. Is he Brock Lesnar? No. Why are you doing double duty? Because you can't freaking build another superstar or story? Because you're that stupid or damn lazy? Pointless. You talk about stars and name value? Boom, Kobe Kingston, Ricochet. There's your star and name value. The bottom line is, I feel like both of them would make great additions on 205 Live and do it through some sort of Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Expand the brand or merge with NXT. We'll see what happens. Go with me or go against me. I dare you. I want to hear from you. Simple as that. But that concludes our simple stances for the night, folks. Leave comments down below based on everything you heard, anything you might want to be heard on 205 Live, any questions you might have, or any criticism you might have against us. Are we the smartest? Are we the stupidest? Are we wrong? Are we right? Are we biased? Dare you.
Ooh, I just thought of a good thing when we were talking about people. What about Roderick Strong? What if they did a storyline in NXT where he wasn't able to win the North American title, but they said they're going to be draped in gold, and he incorporates himself because he's been on 205 Live. Why not him go to 205 Live and earn himself a Cruiserweight title match and try to be draped in gold that way?
Now there's the Simply Competition thing I was talking about. You literally set up prior to that show a Cruiserweight Championship match to happen on 205 Live, and I would love to see Roderick Strong versus Drew Gulak, because at one point we were thinking that there was dissension among the Undisputed Era, baby. But apparently, nah, it's all fine. I thought at one point we were going to get Adam Cole, baby, versus Roderick Strong, and there's going to be dissension, loser leaves NXT, some nonsense like that. And then we get Roderick Strong, who has been like you're selling to for that brand, maybe challenge Drew Gulak. That's a one-on-one we haven't seen yet, to my knowledge. And okay, Roderick Strong, he's right now going after the North American title. What if he loses again? Because now, spoiler alert, yes, I knew it. Finally, the Undisputed Era, draped in gold, the prophecy's almost fulfilled. 3 of the 4 men have gold. Once again, Kyle O'Reilly being the first time ever 3-time NXT Tag Champion, and Bobby Fish, one of the all-time best tag teams in wrestling, are once again NXT Tag Team Champions. Yes! And then, of course, you have Adam Cole, baby, who is the NXT Champion. Roderick Strong still has nothing. So, obviously, he's going to be set up for another match, I feel like, even though there was no controversy. But he does make a point. You did not pin me, Velveteen Dream. You pinned Pete Dunne. I didn't know it was coming. So, obviously, he's going to be due for another match. And right now, Velveteen Dream is one of the top things going in NXT. So I'd be very curious if Roderick Strong wins that title, but if he doesn't, can he go after some other title? And maybe this is foreshadowing if the brands merge. Can he go after Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight title? I would say yes. I would like to see that. So then, there you go. But again, folks,
because they said draped in gold, they didn't say what title he had to win now, did they? They said they're going to be draped in gold. They're foreshadowing there.
Though it would be ironic when you got 3 men of the Undisputed Era in true black and gold, and one in purple and white gold. So, I mean, he would definitely stick out. Or maybe it could lead to a redesign, because honestly, again, I still should be a redesign of the Cruiserweight title. I prefer black leather, gold, maybe keep the white gold. I've seen a couple of cool designs that y'all shared with me in the 205 Live chat. Thank you for that. I'm just saying the brand's now almost 5 years old now. Let's evolve the title, if nothing else.
Yes.
Again, until I see it's done, folks, I'm going to keep doing this because 205 Live matters, and it's still on WWE Network, whether you hate me for it. All right, so let's go ahead and conclude, of course, with our next match. So this, of course, now is number 18 on our top 25 list of top 205 Live matches since the brand's beginning. Why don't you kick off this week? Number 18 on your list. What you got?
Well, I had to make sure the date because I forgot my binder over there, but it's all right because I have the date right here. Right. April 16th, 2019. Do you remember what match we got that day? It was earlier this year.
That was super recent, actually. That was after Tony won the title. Was that Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak?
What?
Was that Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak?
Nope. Cedric Alexander versus Oney Lorcan.
Oh, that one. Yes.
All right, let me go through the backstory because I remember doing a 205 Live episode with you on this match. They had their match in the tournament to determine who was going to challenge for the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
This was the match where Cedric Alexander looked like he was about to be beaten by Oney Lorcan, and you can see clearly that Cedric Alexander pulled his tights, was going for tights, tried to hold Lorcan down so he could try to get the win, and he ended up getting the win. But there was controversy there because of his shenanigans. I thought for one point they were going to turn Cedric Alexander heel the way he acted in that match, out of desperation, but they didn't do that.
Nope.
But this was the final match Cedric Alexander had in 205 Live as of right now. Okay, he had been drafted to Raw. Oney Lorcan was ready. He was like, I want to beat you. I want you to pass the torch to me. Yep. I am ready. I need to beat you to fit the torch pass to me.
Pinnacle moment, yeah.
They had an incredible match, better than their tournament match. That's why this match is on my list and not their tournament match. Great match. He hit the half and half on the outside, on the hardest part of the ring, as I always say, first. Then he went back in the ring, got him again with the half and half, pinned him 1, 2, 3. But that sign of respect at the end, where you could see where Cedric, Lorcan was looking at him like, come on, pass me that torch, give it to me, come on, let's go, I beat you. And Cedric shook his hand. Oney Lorcan left the ring so Cedric Alexander could have his moment. Like I said, that's why it's number 18 on my list right now. That was an incredible match. Go back and watch it, because that was an incredible match, a good passing of the torch kind of a match up there from the old guard to the new guard, because you've seen what Lorcan's done right now, and Cedric Alexander's finally getting on a roll right now, and he's having some good quality matches, and he's doing great now. He was getting on a roll finally. I'm very happy he's doing good right now on the main roster. We'll see how everything goes on Monday, but right now he's doing pretty good.
Well, if I don't watch Raw, I'm glad to hear that. That's a great pick, man. Yes, that was right after WrestleMania 35, and Tony Nese won the title against Buddy Murphy, and things were changing. Both men were moving on to, apparently, you would all hope greener pastures, and so far it seems like that for both men. So, yeah, great choice. All right, I'm going to keep mine simple. So I moved ahead past, of course, the last year, because I'm still in 2018, last year's Cruiserweight Championship Single Elimination Tournament, and I went a little further beyond, but also a rematch in way, and also kind of falls in line with what happened, ironically, and this was just out of the blue. I did not see this coming. I was looking at my numbers like, oh, wow, this is interesting. So there was a particular match that happened this past Tuesday that I should watch, correct? It was Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. Well, my number 18 is actually that. The second encounter between Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali after the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. The foreshadowing here is Buddy Murphy, this is the year he debuted for 205 Live, and it was during that tournament. He faced Mustafa Ali on his way towards the finals, and Mustafa Ali won. Yep. Buddy Murphy, to that point, that was the only blemish on his record via pinfall or submission. So, feuding later, built towards this big, epic rematch. And boy, was it an epic rematch, as it showed how much Buddy Murphy can go, the heart of Mustafa Ali, but also the selling, because a couple of key spots here, that freaking spiking tornado DDT from in between the ropes, and he turned a powerbomb Mustafa Ali did into a spike DDT, dropped Buddy Murphy standing on his head. But again, foreshadowing, Buddy Murphy, later on in the match towards the end, he worked the left arm the same way he apparently injured Mustafa Ali earlier that year, and it led toward him picking up the win with Murphy's Law to a standing ovation. Not only did this give Buddy Murphy redemption, but it also put him on his way towards facing Cedric Alexander for the Cruiserweight title later that year. While Mustafa Ali, at that point, he was already moving on into SmackDown Live. It was one of Mustafa Ali's last great matches, in my opinion, and one of the first points of Buddy Murphy truly being known as 205 Live's best secret. So my number 18 is Buddy Murphy vs. Mustafa Ali from May 5th, 2018. Folks, go check out both of those matches. All right, with that, we are done here for the night, so thank you all for tuning in. The hashtag 205 Live Matters once again. Let's go ahead and do our plugs. Chris, you and I got one heck of a weekend ahead of us, and it's always a pleasure to start doing this forum with you every week. Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. Just type in Christopher Mace, because I can remember those numbers right now. I'd tell you, but I don't remember the numbers. Just look up Christopher Mace. You'll see my picture there. If you want to follow me, you'll see all the content I share about wrestling and different things and movies and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you like, you can click on it and just watch it. It's always fun time. Like I said, support Aftermatch Wrestling. Stephen and Jerry do great work. If you haven't seen NXT predictions video for NXT UK Cardiff with them and me and Noah and Colin, go check it out, because we got Cardiff coming up tomorrow. Support, like I said, support Cindy G and good brother Chris. They're admins of the AEW Nation. Now I'm going to say this right. They got over 1,400 people on their Facebook group right now. I keep wanting to say 14,000. Boy, they jumped up really big if that was the case. Yeah. But like I said, you can watch Cindy G's show. She has a new episode came out about her adventures with going to the J Cup in the second round. I can't remember what the name of the title is, so I'm sorry, Cindy, if I can't remember the name of the title. I haven't watched it all yet, but what I've seen, it looked amazing so far. You could also watch on Noah's channel if you're getting ready for Royal Quest for New Japan. That's coming up tomorrow. Like I said, we got a busy day tomorrow. If you need to check up on anything last minute, we also have the prediction video there that me and Noah, Cindy, good brother Chris, and James did. You can watch that as well. You can get up to date on what's going on with the matches there if you're watching that tomorrow. Support Colin Andrews with the chopping block. He does great work with that. He does great, short, simple, sweet reviews. Very intelligent person when it comes to wrestling, very entertaining, very interesting if you talk to him about wrestling and just life in general. So, great guy. James, and last but not least, support James and Owen. They do great work on their shows. James is incredible with the content he makes with coming up with wrestling shows. He's amazing with the content. Hopefully I'm going to be doing voice work for him soon on being a referee, because apparently I sound like a referee, so we'll see how that goes. And Owen, like I said, we're waiting for the Rundown episode 2000 to come out here shortly, so help him celebrate when this 2000 episode comes on YouTube. Let's help him celebrate. He's done a lot of great work throughout the years. And support NoDQ.com. Like I said, they're the reasons that Noah and everybody's on YouTube doing videos and posting them on there. And like I said, you'll see content from all of us on NoDQ, but you also see content on his channel and Aftermatch Wrestling and Colin's channel and Cindy's channel. You'll see different content on there as well. So you got variety. You'll see us on these channels first, and you'll see us on NoDQ. So, like I said, but they're the reason we started, and actually, most of us actually started because of Jeff Meacham, so hopefully you're doing well, Jeff Meacham. Like I said, we all watched you when you started your shows back years ago, and that's a lot of us have actually started doing videos because of watching you when you first did it, so appreciate it, and just wanted to do a shout-out for that, and bring Wrestling Trivia Challenge back. I want to see Jeff Meacham versus Greg Cherry one more time in a rematch for Iron Man. Come on, let's make that happen. All right, I think I'm done now, so I'm going to ramble if I keep going.
That was brilliant, but also I don't know if the mentality can take that. That was a crazy match. I got like 4 of those questions right too. But I digress. Thank you, Chris. Pleasure as always. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and keep it simple here, as you know I do. So if you want to know more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man. And a fan of Life Undisputed Era. And a live fan. Sorry, I tried to turn my new chair around. It's bigger. Of wrestling. So if you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling, W and beyond, look me up on my Twitter, NoDQ.com/Noah, takes you to my Twitter page, or follow my civil YouTube channel here at YouTube.com/user/Noah Foster 210. And thank you to everybody that got me up to, I guess, 88 subscribers and over 3,500 views overall on my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Started this fun little project about less than a year ago, and I really enjoy doing it. And again, things are going to be slow now that I'm in college, but this will be going up every week. But you can also expect once in a while, and already there, lots of recaps, reviews, simple takes, summaries, and predictions on all things wrestling, W and beyond. New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, Impact Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, support Independent Wrestling, folks, and Ring of Honor. Of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling being my number one. If you haven't already, please check out my channel, our Team DQs, New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest predictions, as well as AEW All Out predictions and NXT UK TakeOver Card predictions. You'll also find the NXT UK ones and the AEW ones right here on Aaron Ripp's NoDQ YouTube channel. And speaking of which, like he briefly disclosed, support NoDQ. The reason I'm in YouTube and exist to begin with in this wrestling community, because started off with a random conversation back in last year September, and here I am. So go buy a shirt. NoDQ.com/shirts to buy some merchandise. Buy a pen. I got 5 of them. Or go to NoDQ.com/merch and buy yourself some great gear. I have a shirt, or go support your favorite NoDQ personalities, or just support the brand in general. And there's all sorts of things there. Tapestries, baseball hats, beanies I hope are coming. Aaron Riff, I got winter coming here in a few months. Get me a beanie, or I'm going to wear my AEW beanie from now on. Anyway, get a hat, get a tapestry, get a mug, get a shirt, get everything. What are you waiting for? I'm waiting for NoDQ pajamas and pants. Anyway, and follow NoDQ.com on all your social media platforms. Your opinions matter, and so do you. There's a comment section and everything on the NoDQ official website. For polls, columns, memes, gifts, recaps, reviews, sexy female pics. You name it, it's there. It's wrestling, primarily WWE, with us slowly updating with AEW. And as always, well, before all that, let me get this in here too, because I sometimes forget. Come join me and join my friend here and join the fun in the hashtag 205 Matters Facebook group. We talk all things Cruiserweight Wrestling, then, now, forever, and always give our simple stances and predictions and discussions on the 205 Live brand in general. So look us up, hashtag 205 Matters on the Facebook. 25 members right now. Thank you for all who joined and supported me. And we'll add you if you're a fan of Cruiserweight Wrestling. Okay. And as always, I'd like to close. Support the wrestling outlets, both big and small, and let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, vast wrestling community together. Simple as that. If I get to 100 subscribers, because I've been talking about it, but looking at bandwidth, I'm getting a new webcam and mic. I'll tell you what. I'll do my first ever live Q&A on 205 Live Matters and wrestling or just life in general. So stay tuned for that. I was going to live stream after tomorrow, but I got friends coming over and my bandwidth sometimes lags, and I don't think my camera can handle that, so that's probably not going to happen. I might pop out of nowhere and do it, maybe for AEW. Stay tuned. But with that being said, thank you for everybody who has tuned in and supported to both my channel and NoDQ.com as always. Appreciate you, whether you hate me or appreciate me for what I say, who I am, and how I act, and what I be. With that being said, like, share, subscribe, comment, or dislike if you want to troll me. Be Rick Roll me. Then again, Virtue the Troll Slayer, he'll take you down. Hit that bell if you want to know where the next video is. Leave a comment down below on anything you want us to discuss, anything on your mind, and we'll react. We love reacting with the wrestling community. So, until next time, for the holiday Christopher Mays, I am the Simple Man of NoDQ, Noah Foster. And until the next video, enjoy life, enjoy wrestling, get plenty of sleep, because that's what I'm going to do, especially at this first college. Oy vey, that was taxing. Until the next video, everybody, simple as that. I hope you all have a good night. And that
Have a good night.
Undisputed, baby. And remember, 205 Live matters.
Always.
Whether it's on the network or not. Bye.
Amen.